So let's see what happens. Wait. Hold on. Does this really? Wait. Title screen, press any game, select... A giant arrow? Where? Hold up. Select adventure, press D or click on the right arrow and then press on new game. Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh. Susato!
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
Is this a Japanese accent?
You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
I find myself faced with another awful crime. You! Bitch!
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
Oh shit!
Listen, please. I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
Broken English or just British? The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. Also, I thought the British lady with the swan hat, she was the killer in the first case, so I thought she killed again, but turns out she's the victim this time. Broken English or just... Yeah, I was a little thrown off by the accent, because at first I thought it was some sort of mix of Scottish and maybe something else, but then as she continues, sort of like, wait, no, that one makes sense. She's of Japanese descent. Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. He's alive! Dad's alive! Ah, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Also, please let me know if I'm too loud. Oh, yes, good morning. Wait, no, that's not her dad. I thought that was her dad. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, Counsel. But you look as white as a sheet. And those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Can I? Wrong button. No, wrong button. Oh, I can't pull up profiles yet. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous I feel utterly nauseated. Get a bucket! Oh, I wasn't expecting that facial expression. I almost wish I had never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Okay, so they are real. So this is her dad. He was just trying to be professional. Ooh, is Dad my assistant? Yujin Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me! Oh! Sorry, I was a little thrown off a little antenna hair. Are you by any chance one of the Fae family? Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? I don't know if I can do the higher pitched voices. I might just do default for player characters. Oh, yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. Please don't punch me! It's a complete fabrication, the whole thing. Friend made a thumbnail. Oh, nice. Membami. Membami? Remember me! Oh my god. Her name is Remember Me. Born the same year as I and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research lab, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Also, I get if Winston Payne is gonna be back, or Prosecutor Ouchie, is he gonna be like, women can't be counsel? If that's gonna happen, then yay, misogyny in the first few minutes of the game. Yet again. Ugh. Ow, my eye. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. What, maybe she is Sugiuchi's just, like, one of his ancestors. Oh my, oh, that's cute. It's just that... Oh, the Bambi eyes! You look so gallant and dashing! Will you marry me? Sorry. And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Oh. Susato's got a fan. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotova? If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can rely... Oh my god, am I going in disguise? Am I dressing up as either Cosma or Ryunos? Ryunosuke? I forgot his name for a second. I can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. It's just that... No, what are you doing? What's going on? What? Nani? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge, that varsity everything. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University. A male student. Oh, she's Joan of Arcing this case. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke up at 4 this morning to make a start. Did you get a haircut? Or are you hiding it in the hat? But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Was it that women weren't allowed in the case? Well, you see... It was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in the trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated having been born into this body. Oh. Oh, honey. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Unless you're a witness, or maybe the accused, I guess? Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike, Japan and the world overall we kind of didn't really know non-binary people existed yet. Because we're old. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato! You go to such lengths for me? You're so hot right now! Of course. You're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh, no. I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman... What a wretched reason! I know, right? Sexism is an ass! I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing! Ray? Please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. You're making me blush! Oh, I'm sorry. It's just... You really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. Wow! You should be pleased! It means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all of this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. The shoulder slumped I can see, but I'm curious if there's any actual trembling in the animation. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder? Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. Clean as a whistle! I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence. And I'm just noticing her kimono, or I need to brush up on my Japanese attire terms, but the colors yellow and purple, I think they're opposing colors, and I think it really works. How was her courtrooms in this? The room specifically, I'm not sure, but the court law itself, I'm not a history major, unfortunately. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Susato. Defendant! Counsel! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. And please find our eyes while you're at it. Sorry, I just noticed the pictures on the wall. One of them looks like the judge from the very first Ace Attorney game. Excuse me. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh. Stand aside! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. She tackled the guards and just ran through. Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom, and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. So am I going disguised as Ryunosuke or Kazuma, or just as some random dude? But father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this. Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. That's always the case in these games. I didn't want to burden her with that. And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer was refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was? Is it some sort of, oh no, we don't want to protect the person who killed this white lady? Is that it? We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. Let's do this. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. Those unforeseen circumstances, if memory serves right, was that her father fell ill. How many times have I wished that he were here? I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Oh! So that's what Susato looks like. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Remember Me. All I keep thinking about is an episode of Futurama where Bender, the robot, he gets this giant statue made of himself that breathes fire while yelling, "Remember me!" Oh, he got a little swirly on his head.
The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Susato. Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Ready? Oh yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that correct? Sorry? Oh, she's just like Ryunosuke in the very first case. Like, just those nervous eyes. Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel? Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryutaro. He who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo name, or clan. It seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild, wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo?
A fresh face in the courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. By the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be?
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of the study program. This is, his cousin! That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, like, Japan is like, guilty until proven guilty. Any of them!
What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy.
How dare you! Please don't give the name away. Susato is every bit as talented and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her.
Huh? Did you say a woman? Ew!
Please be careful, Ray.
Chit. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not.
I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes are one to fail, one to flit. The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire.
Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet for proceedings of such importance, we have this. Unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom.
Dad, help me!
9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now. Also 9 months. It's like, congratulations, greatest attorney, you gave birth to the sequel. The same judge tested him as well. That's quite a coincidence. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Alright, it's time to prove myself. He's doing like he does. Yes, Your Excellency, but please make them simple. Very well, to start with, you will state the name of the victim. Oh, that's simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. Ah! Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are want to blank. It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret, you need only use your knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. I've been trying to access that because I want to see how, like get more info on everyone. Yeah, so RB. It's okay if I skip over the tutorial bits since I already know this. Okay, check the 43, 16, 25, 52. Giselle Brett, female, British. The 11th of August, around 2 p.m. Single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a major hemorrhage. Death would occur within minutes. Pupil constriction? Well, she was studying in the medical department, so was there some sort of poison? I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case? It's my dad!
Yes!
Excuse me? Susato, I know you're trying your best, but I don't know, part of me feels like they could have... How do I put it? I'm kind of hoping she gets more newer animations that aren't just recycled from Ryunosuke. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Oh yeah, the lady who committed murder in the very first case. Correct. And being a member of our Empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain, who also did murder. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own Empire's judicial history? Obviously you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record. Obviously I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman student persona was the face of... Queen Victoria. She was actually the queen!
Yes!
Sorry, yeah, true, like, Yakuza reuses some fighting styles. So, I don't know. part of me feels like I kind of excuse it there because there's a handful of popular fighting styles, like even in real world. Here though, I'm sort of seeing that even though it seems like they might have recycled Rinosuke's animations, they have still some of Susato's little touches to it. 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. And it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba. Wait, who's talking? I think the judge? Or... Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryonosuke Naruhodo. Kazuma! With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense. You! And exposed a despicable crime committed by Mr. Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she'll be removed to Shanghai, China instead.
Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there.
Correct. Oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of our transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week.
She wasn't sent yet?
All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board the steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed!
Only the day before?
Sorry, my eyes. That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle.
Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie.
Slam your head, slam your head, slam your head.
As you wish, Your Excellency.
Oh. I thought he would head desk. I'm not going to do a nasal voice for this one. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight. Ooh. This is pretty. On the outskirts of the Imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. Okay, I'm seeing a pen, the feathers from her hat. So I'm trying to see if there's anything of interest here. There's something that looks like a belt. Injury which proved fatal.
There were two persons alone in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused, remember me. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene of the crime and promptly arrested the young lady.
What exactly is the motive?
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary, it stinks, was full of words that raised an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about... I wonder why it's... Huh. Internet is weird. Like 8 hours, only 1 hour to upload. I'm gonna assume maybe I could come back to this and ask about these two other points, but right now, my biggest question. You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement.
Check, check, check. Is the Uncle Boy using long words he doesn't fully understand?
I beg your pardon? You want me to jump over there and whoop? You want me to jump over there and whoop your ass? I can't. I'm trying to. Oh god. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to do a southern accent, but my brain, my vocal cords, they just didn't match, and I couldn't think of like what kind of crap. What do southern people say? Howdy cow poke. What you say to me, you Yankee? I can't do it. I can't be threatening in southern.
No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membai Nissan, you are a research student at the Imperial Yuma University, I believe.
Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his lab at the moment. I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then?
Oh no. Wilson? Oh, I was studying under John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered 9 months ago?
The accused has a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. And tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had toward the Englishwoman who killed him.
Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Ray! Be careful with what you're saying.
The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Now I'm wondering if Ray and Iris are gonna meet, because Iris is Wilson's daughter. Well, it was clearly a trap all along. God damn it! How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor like that. I gotta find out more details. As a lawyer... Why were they alone together? Membami-san. Yes, what is it, Susan? I was about to say, yes, what is it, darling? I mean, counsel! Naruto-san! I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryutaro Susato. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim. And why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. Is that who I think it is? I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. So you can exact your revengeance. truth is, there's only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
I was gonna make a horrible joke, like, there's only one reason she went there with her to the bathing area. Whips out fan and starts fanning himself. Woo! For naughty reasons. No.
Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel.
Chit-chit-chit-chit.
The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him goad you. Oh dear, this is really terrifying. But Father's right, we need more info. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up on the prosecution and what they said. If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie, where's the bathroom?
What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student?
Hooey, boy, howdy! I'm about to jump over there and kick you in the rear. Is that what Southern people say? I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot.
My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind.
How about I throw a pumpkin at your head?
Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skin.
Okay, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? You don't know, do you?
For old time's sake, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were to enjoy a day on our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply.
I wish to go swimming, take me there, or else. On what grounds would we agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor! It was the government who granted permission, not me! In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong!
Now you think about it, Ouchie, weren't you the one who was constantly kissing Giselle Brett's ass? It was like, oh, lady, step on me! But in fact, a murder took place.
I said don't look at me! It was a young student girl did it, not me!
No one's proved that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident, no? Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead of continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other a number of occasions. Seeing the murder of the mentor for whom she had such great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty. Yeah, anyone would be pissed! Even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you would be so kind as to peruse this exhibit, a photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Blam! Yes, thank you. A tragic image. Okay, I'm seeing the glass. I'm seeing the bottle in the glass, so maybe some poison was involved. But for the pen, as for the pen, maybe the pen has a clue on it. Also, that's quite a mess of footprints there.
As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone could have hidden.
What about that giant dress thing in the upper right hand?
The court will accept this.
The court will accept this photographic print as evidence. Alcohol does kill. As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. Let me see that picture. Very lacy shoes. And what else is there? Feathers. Okay, so those are just the ribbons of her dress. It's just a chair. Oh wait, the drink spilled, so maybe she had a small sip and then maybe the poison took effect and she fainted. As for everything else, oh, there's the infamous purse. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Does this include the detective that was protecting her? Witnesses? Who? Wait a minute, ouchie, whatever happened to— oh, they were alone at the beach!
One of whom I might add is a highly respected police detective.
I knew it.
I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Very well then, counsel. Bring forth your witnesses.
Where are they?
I, Taketsuchi Ouchie, have been waiting for this moment.
What?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. That trial 9 months ago here in this very courthouse. Where that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me.
That was your fault, man.
And Inosuke Naruhodo!
Yes?
This insult to the Ouchie family name will never be forgotten.
It becomes conceited with age, counsel. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. Time for your haircut! It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of a cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
The start of your own mini Meiji revolution? Are you modernizing as well, counsel?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head.
That swirling on your head?
Observe the Ouchie growth. You see? You see this seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown?
I'm gonna rip it off your head. I think the tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where's the hope exactly?
I said silence! Today I face another yoke student of Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. And that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
Time to rip that hair off your head. Looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense each have much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. There! What's that on your head? Also, hey, Soseki!
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
Oh, it's a turtle! He has a little turtle friend! And he has a tan! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. Not doing very well, but you're doing your best. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned through the capital, in fact. Yes. If you two know who Susato really is, please don't blow her cover. Whoa! Who is that? Yeah. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat, a sensational success by Soseki Natsumi. And who's that? Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needed to be in awe of me. I needn't? It's only natural that you'd feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki even. Yes? What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Tread carefully, Susato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. God damn it! Of course I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I can certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so. Oh yeah, he's got a new jacket. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. And his turtle friend. Do I have something on my face? You have something on your head! Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. I suppose it's this disguise, isn't it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all the testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business does a writer such as yourself have being at the scene? Writers can... writers go places for inspiration. Or relaxation. Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume Academy's... Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? At the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoba? Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They want some story or other about 2 former students who studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leaves me alone. Yeah. They secretly spy, snap shots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. He practically threw it at me. Anyway, following my interview with a professor, before that. Wait, what's that scratchy... Oh, the kitty! Kitty! It's like must be one of Agahai's babies. Also, what's this scratchy mark? Did the camera lens have a crack in it? Or is it just a mishap with the printing? The lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast! Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. Sorry. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her. The detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Can you at least tell me you named your turtle? I want to know the name of your turtle friend.
Never mind, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside.
It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Peak fitness, my ass! You keep coughing up blood! I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. You sure? Oh my, Inspector, you got something on your face. Oh, the towel has turtles on it! How unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. Ah, but if only I had! I've never seen that awful sight! Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret!
Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you've witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast.
Ace Attorney Beach episode gone wrong. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. Is I? On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise.
I just managed to catch that crab when I was suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me.
I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question.
Yes! That young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly.
Stabbed wildly, as in multiple times? I thought she was... Wasn't she only hit once? Where is it? Single deep stab wound.
Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime.
Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence.
I wonder why the N in damn is silent.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen?
Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer. What?
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic prints.
Either the pen... Is it the pen belonged to someone, or she wrote down the name?
Goodness me!
Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right. The fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite pen, or ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Membami. I was trying to see if it could be something else upside down, but nah. Also, couldn't anyone's initials could be RM?
The initials of the defendant.
No! Oh, they got the swimming sandals or beach sandals.
This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence.
So, have I omitted anything?
Hold up. I can't look at it!
Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
I don't understand it. The prosecutor outed him 9 months ago. Had none of this man's poise!
Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now.
I just want a nap. Naruhodo-san. Naruhodo. That means... yes, me!
Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please. Alright, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness's testimony to prove that they're lying. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. I think I already know what to present on, but just in case... Wait, wrong button. Multiple times, eh?
Objection!
With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have become very, very high indeed.
What's the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel?
Ooh, I like this. I'm guessing this is Sato's theme song. I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. What? Oh, what? Where? When? How? Yeah. Not you, Soseki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me? In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that can't be. No!
Get to the point, please, Counsel.
Oh, she still has her little book! In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed once. In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is bullshit! It's clearly flawed. And Soseki-san. You claim to have seen Membami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did. Wildly! But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point. That there was already blood on the knife you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and? It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there's no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
True. Then what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us?
Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san saw, in fact, was not the moment the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant, in fact, withdrew the blade from the victim's body. That can't. Excellent work, Susan. You just, you exploded at them with that objection, and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection!
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show.
You're right. There were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair. Oh! Burn!
Thunder, my head is quite adequately dressed.
Looks pretty naked.
You In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing its multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference.
Why not?
Use your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw.
Wait, so are you trying to suggest that the witnesses saw the quote-unquote defendant about to stab multiple times, but was stopped halfway? But because the accused already stabbed the victim.
Are you have successfully shown with your little display?
I was about to say, is like, are his eyes okay?
Is that the mustached author is prone to moments of extravagance?
I'm in agreement with the prosecution. No! If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion.
But if she was withdrawing the blade...
Then we are back where we started. Consider this, young yokel boy.
Who are you calling country boy?
If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with the demon's cold-blooded composure, too.
Sorry, I'm just... Okay, why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? First thought was maybe like, oh shit, are you okay? Like, pull it out and try to maybe try to bandage up the wound somehow?
The prosecution demands an explanation. And it better be good.
Why did Ray pull out the knife? Yeah, maybe that's why. Like, the ribbon, those couldn't bandages. Ah, yes. Going for the jugular. The jugular vein?
Is it the court here answered the counsel?
The truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out... Stab her again, save her life, hide the knife. Let me save real quick. I'm guessing save her life because those little ribbon bandages, I imagine she was going to, maybe Ray was trying to bandage them until one of the other witnesses caught her. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
The point is, being a medical research assistant, Membami-san was compelled to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save her life. You too?
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem this is the best we can expect from this young yokel.
Indeed. Is it just me or does it only feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may.
Speak, witness.
I would like another opportunity to testify. I just noticed Natsume's eyes, they're twinkling. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the yokel defense counsel, I mean, you're joining in too? Slipshod?
An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopes for a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems.
I'm gonna take that fan and shove it up your ass.
But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. Like, one hand, yes, like, but maybe Ray, as a medical research student, she had other methods? I'm guessing? In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. Hold on. A single stab wound from behind, piercing along, resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Maybe unless the knife was poison and Ray caught on. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Is what you just said true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Isn't Ray, like, training to be a doctor?
Here's why yokels should stay on the farm.
How about I farm that hair on your head and rip it all out?
Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given us something one little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it.
Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone or pulled a blade out of a wound, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Father, is it true, what they're telling me? Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. Then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out that knife in full knowledge that would be fatal for Miss Brett? I don't know. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife. It seems almost impossible to believe, but... Could my friend actually have... Susato. Who's this Susato you speak of? Judge, I'm sorry, I'm hallucinating. I meant someone else. Pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my adjudication immediately afterwards. I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be like this. One second. There's no penalty if I press everything, right?
Hold it!
You say doing it without thinking could cause a problem. Does that mean if you use due care and attention it would be alright? Oh. Oh, you're petting your turtle friend! I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out, really, but... The blade is likely a stopper in the wound. Remove it and a serious hemorrhage will occur. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Medic! Doing it without thinking would be madness. You just can't do it. Thank you for such a thorough explanation.
You see, Counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath.
Back to the witness testimony, please.
Hold it!
In that case, there's an obvious explanation here. Which is... Clearly, the defendant, Ray Mbami-san, does... labeling. What do you think about that, Professor Ikotopa? I'm not sure that you should be labeling your best friend as lacking common sense. Well, I thought it would be better than labeling her as a murderer.
I don't know, young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it.
Oh! Carol Counsel, a lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing. Oh dear, that recoiled on me rather badly. That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn. Hopefully you can see now that this is really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in medical research, Membami-san would certainly have been aware of it.
Hold it!
But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground, bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would have behaved so irrationally. Oh, but irrationally behave... What the hell are you doing? Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Oh, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take hold a little too much. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? That should cover the medical side of the argument.
Clap, clap. Hold it!
Whatever the motive, it just isn't in Membami-san's nature to do something so awful. But she had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against. But you don't know the defendant.
Objection! And you, counsel, do not appear to know the law.
Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the courts of your argument, not feelings. Facts, not feelings? Is that what's happening?
With this fleshling to defend her, I would almost say I pity the accused.
So do I. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defendant's motive, please. Ah yes, Miss Brent was in many ways the sworn enemy of Membami-san.
Hold it!
Well, yes, that's true. Let me double check. Dr. Wilson recognized Membami-san's talent and offered her the position of assistant, despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Membami-san's abilities. Clearly, the defendant was in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point. This is hopeless! I can't find a single crack in this anywhere! If Ray knew that withdrawing the blade from the wood would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Susato, it's at times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. Fundamentals? Hold up. Was her plan to, like, take the knife and replace it with the pen? Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it? I know that, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already. I think perhaps you're forgetting something. You need to take the evidence at face value. Can I examine the pen now? I realize this is your first time playing the role of lawyer in the courtroom. So if you need reminding of the rudiments, you need only ask. I'll do my very best to help. Examine the evidence, the court record, it's an idea certainly. What should I do? I know how to do it. Come to think of it, Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san were always turning evidence over and over in their hands. They were playing around with it like a Rubik's Cube. Yes, I need to examine things in greater detail with A. By the look in your eyes, I see it's coming back to you. Go through the court record again and have a thorough look at everything. You may just find a clue. Let's do it now! Sorry, the art for Susato's Ryotaro side, I really like the purple accents in the stars. The arm initials are very clearly engraved here. And the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moment is very clearly a message too. To identify her killer, you mean? I don't think there can be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence. What is this? There's some sort of emblem here to look. But it isn't a Yume diversity one. It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Rei. Can I open the pen? If we take off the pen's lid... What is this? Unscrew the barrel. Whoa! Okay, quick thing, I have never used a fountain pen like this before. Like the little sharp end. I have used fountain pens before, but not with this kind of tip. This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib. Drawing. So it's like a syringe? Is something wrong, Father? It's just that there doesn't appear to be any ink in there. That's all. Oh yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. It could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. Fountain pen bearing... There's a very small amount of liquid. Wait. So if the fountain... so if this pen acts like a syringe, supposedly when pulling ink out of a bottle... Was that it? What was going on with the body? Also, I'm not going to make the same mistake as last time where I try to play through the entirety of the first case in one night.
Objection!
Fuck! Any evidence here thrust in my direction is supposed to prove your point? Why'd you throw the pen at my face? I apologize, I did present it rather more forcefully than I intended to. I will, I'm sorry! You really put me in my place there. I feel like I need to present the pen, but is there something else I'm missing? Okay, there we go. Raucous England returnees tell all. This is an interview with you and Soseki-san, isn't it, Father? It looks as though it was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little over-anime when he was talking about his time in England. Look at the little kitty! The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. Ow! I do hope you weren't hurt. This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive day! I freaking knew it! From Yume's medical research. Father, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that! The poison's been stolen? It's this morning's paper that Sosaki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I've not heard of any such thing. Where on earth could a reporter have gleaned this information? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning this story in our paper this morning, was there? It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. Is it the unpronounceable poison name from earlier? Also my eye. I put Ray in charge of the project. Ray? She was managing it? If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked. I don't believe it. I need to read this article very carefully. Can I read it now? Okay, here we go. Following a lecture at Yume by Soseki Natsume on the 11th of August, it came to light that a very disturbing incident took place. Deadly poison being secretly developed in the university's forensic science lab was stolen. Smallest amount entering the body, either via the mouth or via poison-laced blade, would prove fatal in a second. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have been consulted. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. It's apparently an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to have been commissioned by the military. God damn! I have questions for Ray.
Objection!
Yes! No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the blade from the victim's wound.
The yokel not only has a poor grasp of law, but is also a poor loser.
Says the guy who's losing hair.
Tell us then, what possibility do you think you could identify?
It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory on the Imperial Yume unit.
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case.
The poison is... It's a... Okay, I don't know what kind of poison it is, but at this current time in this game, it is impossible to detect and can be transferred through a blade. But... Prosecutor Ouchie, you will let the defense speak.
Newspaper article. The court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry. Who wants to read about fake news?
Oh, jeez.
Counsel for the defense? I'm going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court very precisely what part of the newspaper article affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where... The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting... If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Membami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering her body. Ebba Sketch, hey! How you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I beat Cat Quest last time, and now I'm playing Ace Attorney, and Susato, she has to disguise herself as a man in order to defend her friend. Because in this universe, women aren't allowed to be in the court. Unless they're witnesses.
This is complete and utter nonsense.
Oh, speaking of cats. It's a little hard to see, but there's a kitty in there. Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility.
Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage.
The word poison appears nowhere in the document because the poison can't be detected yet. We don't have the tech. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking a hold.
Oh please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind!
I was trying to do a fart noise.
Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware.
Look at the final page! Wait, no, not this page. Look at the second page! Single stat. It could have been a mix of the hemorrhage and the poisoning. Plus, the poison, it causes like constricted pupils, and that's what it says in the autopsy.
We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is all reliable anyway. It's all just fake news.
In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. Also, Turtle. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense. So why are you happy?
Well, exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it then, yokel?
Why did Ray suspect stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What? Talk shit, get hit! You can't possibly.
Your expression, counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence.
Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware. I've seen it many times, from my place at his side in the Old Bailey.
In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article?
Let me save real quick. I'm torn between presenting this or the poison details, because, like, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. This? I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please, do tell me! Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it is an unusual symptom of death.
Well...
Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, that most certainly unusual, yes.
What are you doing, you yokel detective?
Maybe you should become a yokel yourself. In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
Nani?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely. Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt. Prosecutor Ouchie, I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence.
Ew. No!
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I do remember there was some, very, very wrong, outdated idea that when someone dies, the last thing they see is imprinted in their eyes. So they tried using that to solve murder cases, but it never worked. Because it's not true.
No.
Yujin Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency?
I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please.
It pains me to have to admit it. But I'm afraid I don't know.
You don't know?
The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly. But I was unaware of any theft.
Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded?
No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say. Okay. Giselle Brett, even though she was found guilty of murder, she was still allowed to roam freely in the university and was even allowed a beach episode. So, could she be the one who stole the poison, and then someone used it against her?
Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft or secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in a newspaper.
Okay, Susanoo looks like she wants to punch him in the face. I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision. Still rather unclear. Huh. That I did not know. Father.
A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees.
That's totally unfound. Who? Hey! Oh! Sorry, I love how the two dudes are like, wait, where'd she come from? Oh, for Eva, this is the defendant. She's being accused of killing Giselle Brett, aka the lady who was a murderer in the very first case of the first Ace Attorney Chronicles game. None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all... Oh no, are you doing a I'm Spartacus? No, I'm Spartacus? Right.
Membami shot.
Oh yeah, her name pun is Remember Me. Or Ray Membami. The logic is bad.
You stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What?
So he knew. I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was. Why didn't you let me know immediately? I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So, I decided to try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was. The thief? You don't mean... Called it. Yes, of course. It was that dainty English woman.
Mr. Giselle Brett?
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. That's why I wanted to join the beach episode. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool in the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. Oh yeah, it's like, I killed him. Oh yes, I killed a man and they just let me do whatever I want now. Ho ho. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, She suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. Wait a minute. You can't convict me, I'm a woman, ooh woo. Or in this case, you can't convict me, I'm British, ooh woo. Me? Oh my god, oh my god. She was sitting on that stool and there's a little gap in the boarding. Ah, my eye. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they'd shrunk to tiny pinpoints. I don't believe it.
In other words, you realize that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
Why is my eye hurting? Ow! Ah. Sorry about that. My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I'd been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. The stabbing on the blade of the knife in her back.
And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade?
Yes. If the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I hoped. Really, I'm sorry for staying silent all this time.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I keep expecting her head to hit the bar. Like, thank you, Your Ow! Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom.
Objection! Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Membami-san, if that's the case, perhaps you'd explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed.
Look at the photograph. Well,
You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge. Objection!
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? Is that a yes?
Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive.
What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it. I just imagine, like,
oh, I have conclusive evidence. It's my ass. Hold on 1 second.
You'll produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Secretary.
Perhaps some praise is due, young local student.
No praise for you. What?
I'd imagine there would be no need for me to... no need for me to submit this evidence. But you've brought this on yourself.
There's that same crack. Okay, hold up. Like, I'm not sure if you can see the... Okay, you can see the cursor. Yeah, oh, okay, like I was saying before... let's see if we can pull it up again. This photo in the magazine, it has the exact same crack on it as this right here. What the?
Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on the beach is almost palpable.
It could be her pulling it out.
This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. For it shows the precise moment that Membami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back.
That's not true. No. I don't believe it.
Counsel for the defense, was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom?
Oh, right. Okay, so Sato is having to disguise herself as a man in order to be in this courtroom, so is like, oh, have you hit puberty yet?
Brass's voice has yet to break. These yokels are slow to mind and slow to mature.
I'll show you who's slow to mature. Also, big words from someone who aged like milk. Careful now. Susato is starting to show her face here. It
is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence.
I can't believe he's had a photograph like that up his sleeve the entire time. Let me see it. Again, this crack in the imagery! Well, or this little crack in the photo. Also, wait a minute. Okay, this is the only crack in the wall in that hut, so where was the other photo taken? Unless it's in a part that's not shown in the photo. It's such a stark image, I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute, I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photo? Ray.
Objection!
Pain bloodlines is all I know from being traditionally manly themselves.
Objection! There's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention.
She has a point, because that crack in the photo, it's the exact same one that was taken during the interview. So the photographer could have... Maybe the photographer is the one who did it.
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. I think I know who it might be. The reason I say that is that Soseki Natsume, he's a witness in this trial, and he's had a dude constantly follow behind him this whole time with a notepad and a camera. Emphasis on camera.
I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Pardon?
You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown.
Are we to understand then, Counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence? When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence! You yokel student and blabbering professor! What matters is the plain truth that this print so eloquently expresses.
But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Yeah, that could be her pulling it out. Clearly this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into her back, but...
The moment it was withdrawn? Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings.
Indeed. Without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court.
Stupid question. How do we know if it's actually a photographic print? Like, what if you got a really skilled artist who could forge it?
The defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter. I believe the conclusion is clear.
Oh no. Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim. Yeah, we just need to prove that somehow.
Chit-chit-chit. You have plenty of time to rue your defeat on that slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Taketsuchi Ouchi in a court of law.
If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. I already know what the clue is! Your Excellency, The burning question is who took the photograph, and the truth is...
Oh.
I already know, it's the guy who's a photographer for the newspaper.
Slap.
This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal.
No, can't possibly. But, as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name.
How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you could?
However... I didn't even know she was going to say however, and I just... I am able to present evidence. Defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity.
What?
Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of this mystery?
Yes, the photographer of this. Because look at the little crack there.
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again? Raucous England returnee tells all.
It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photo. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side.
Oh, yes indeed. They had already caught my eye as it happens.
Do you not know? Do you recognize them anywhere else?
Whatever. A shadow of some kind, presumably. From the branches of a tree or the like.
There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Yeah, apparently in an interview, Soseki got very animated. He did little, like, wee things, including the whole, like, dab. Also, I'm sort of off topic. I'm reminded of, when I was in college, a group of friends, we'd have, like, a scary video game night on Mondays, and at one point, it was, my friend was playing Fatal Frame 2, and he ran into a ghost that kept falling from the sky, and he was getting annoyed, and he was basically saying, "What? Like, there are no ceilings here, where are you falling from?" And me at the time asked, "Maybe there's some trees in here?" And my friend goes, "Trees?" He rotates the camera so you can see the entire area. "Do you see any trees around here?" "No!" So I'm just imagining that here. It's like, maybe there's a tree in the lab. And then Mikotoba just shakes the newspaper in Ouchie's face. "Do you see any trees in here?" Now, if you look closely at this photograph...
Good gracious!
Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photo.
Objection!
Well, it tells us nothing.
Tells us a lot.
Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree.
Do you see any trees in here? There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Council. You idiot!
What's quite remarkable about it is that their two patterns are almost identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired?
The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of... I'm guessing I think it might be a crack in the lens, but... Is that possible? Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs.
Wait, with the photographic device?
Yes, we can confidently say that the camera lens must be scratched. And that the scratched lens caused unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. Oh wait, okay, I was about to say, is that even possible? But then I remembered, there was a Team Fortress 2 trailer called Meet the Scout, and the character of the Scout, he pokes the lens, And the smudge from his fingerprint is visible through the rest of the video. So, I guess it also applies to scratches? Or cracks? In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera.
There must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
What about the photographer that's been following Soseki Natsume? I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Ouchi, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article.
A newspaper?
That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime.
Nani?
Hey, where'd they go? Many memo? What was that? Hey! I see why you were called a raucous England returnee. What do you say? Many memo. Is that the name of the guy? Many memo.
What are you yelling about? You already testified.
It's many memo, I tell you.
Mini memo!
Mini memo. Soseki-san, what was that? Did you say many memo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. Is it the same guy that's been with you this whole time? Writing many memos. Oh my god. That would be hard to fix it. Very true. Hounding me from dawn till dusk. Right, so where do we find a Mr. Writing Many Memos? Now that he mentions it. She noticed it too, that guy!
Yeah.
Basically, spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. Could that same reporter be... Wait, did he not notice that guy behind him this whole time? A camera to the left, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with... Writing Many Memo. So you're saying that this picture was taken by... By Many Memo, yes! My lord, your excellency, Esquire. I both hate and love these attorney names. Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Yes, your excellency.
As you say, your excellency.
And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood? Head desk, head desk, head desk, head desk, head desk. Slam your head in it. Slam your head, slam your head, slam your head. Yes!
Many Memo!
Whew. Okay, I'm actually thinking about calling it a night because it's midnight, and if I try to finish this whole case, I think my throat's gonna be dead.